All right, let's go ahead with 1B notes. The topic today and the main ideas are central angles and their arc measures. So we're going to first define what a central angle is, and then we're going to show how we find the measures of those angles and their arcs. So the first question here, first sentence, a central angle is an angle with a vertex. Remember, the vertex is the point of the angle at the center of the circle. And its two sides are radii. Now, radii is the plural for radius. Okay, so the example is angle ABC is a central angle. So let's take a look. Angle ABC is a central angle. The vertex of my angle is B, which is the center of the circle. And the sides of my angle are both radius BA and radius BC. Okay, so a central angle is vertex is the center of the circle. If I would take all of the central angles that go around that center point, they would sum or total to 360 degrees. If we want to find the measure of the arc formed by the endpoints of the central angle, so what does that mean? So if I look over here at my central angle of ABC, where the end of these points are of the angle, from A over to C, okay, we can determine how many degrees that arc is going to be. Okay, so arcs can be measured just like angles can, where around the circle is a total of 360 degrees for that arc. Okay, so if we're going to write this down as a definition, is the measure of the arc formed by the endpoints of the central angle, in this case arc AB, is equal to the degree of the central angle. Wow, so that's pretty slick. So if my central angle is 84 and I come out here to its arc, we call that the intercepted arc, where it kind of comes out and hits the circle, those are always going to be the same. So arc AC, again, here's my arc measurement, or my arc symbol, is going to be 84 degrees. Then they asked me to find the measure of arc ADC. Okay, I strongly encourage you to go over to the picture and determine where is that. So I'm going to start at A. I have to go around the circle. Sometimes it's hard to know which way to go, but this means I start at A, I go through D, and I stop at C. So that means for going from A, going around this direction, pass through D, and stop at C. That would be a major arc. Okay, so if this little piece is 84, then 360, which is all the way around, minus that 84, will tell me what's left for the rest of the circle. So that'll give me 276 degrees. Okay? So central angles and their arcs are always going to be equal to each other. Okay? So I'm just going to put that a little over here. Central angle equals its arc. All right, so let's go through a couple examples here. So the first one, we just want to, before we even step over here and try to answer the questions, I just strongly encourage you to just work on the picture first, or the diagram. Let's see if we can get that a little bit bigger here. We work on the diagram, because then these arcs and angles are very easy to get. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. So when you're looking at a picture, you want to find some of those things that are key. So we've got, here's the center of the circle. We have RT, which is a chord that goes through the center. And we know that that chord divides the arc into two pieces at 180 each. And we also know, since this is a segment, that I can do segment, linear pairs with these angles so that they will total this line, which is 180 degrees. So if this one is 122, if I take 180 minus the 122, that means the other angle right next to it, remember a linear pair, is going to be 58. and then this side would be 180. Now, you can if you want, but sometimes I think it gets pretty confusing. The central angle and its arc are always going to be the same. So you can write out here if you want 122 degrees. Sometimes that is confusing because you're writing it twice basically. Since this angle, central angle is 58, that means S to R is 58. And R over to T would be 180 degrees. So you can write those out here if you want, but I think most of us can visual like, all right, so this is 122, so this is 122. Totally up to you. So let's go over here. Now that we have basically all the angles and all the arcs, this should be easy now. Arc ST, 122. Arc RS is 58. Now, again, we're going to trace this out. SRT, we're going to start at S, go through R, and we're going to stop at T. Okay, so we're actually going to add arcs together. So from S to R is 58. From R to T is 180. So when I add those together, that tells me the whole arc. Done. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop there, and then I'll be back in part 2.